With the SpaceX IPO seemingly inevitable for 2026, or who knows, maybe a reverse merger with Tesla, I think it's safe to say we can expect to see and hear a lot more about SpaceX throughout the year. Case in point, a new Forbes mini documentary seemingly detailing some companies started by former SpaceX employees. Many of you will probably have heard of the PayPal Mafia, a bunch of folks who worked at PayPal somewhere around 1999, 2000-ish, who went on to build a company or two or three, add enormous value, and cumulatively employ hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Names like Elon Musk, David Sachs, Peter Thiel. So it looks like this short video from Forbes is shaping up to be the SpaceX Mafia.
Today on Forbes, from the school of Elon Musk to billion-dollar startups, meet SpaceX's alumni founders. In January 2002, Elon Musk strolled into a warehouse in Los Angeles, where he spotted Thomas Muller hoisting an 80-pound engine over his shoulder as he bolted it into the lower thrust structure of a rocket. This wasn't a day job. Muller, then an engineer at aerospace manufacturer TRW, would often spend his weekends with amateur rocket club Reaction Research Society to build new kinds of rockets outside his scope at work. Musk had shown up at the club's headquarters to sell its members, including Muller, on his vision of building a space company that would enable humanity to one day colonize Mars. Before Muller had the chance to set the engine down, Musk began firing question after question. Muller recalls, quote, "In very typical Elon fashion. What is that? Is that a big engine? What's the biggest engine you've worked on?" "A 650,000-pound engine for TRW," he responded hesitantly. After all, the only thing Muller knew about Musk was that he was an internet millionaire, recently ousted from his CEO position at PayPal. But it didn't take long for the two to click. When asked if he could build an engine of similar scale from scratch for Musk, Muller said yes, even though he knew the real answer was no. Muller said, quote, "That was the optimism and the naivety that Elon wanted to see because that's the way he was, too."
Being somewhat naive and extremely optimistic are two prerequisites for anyone setting out to do something extremely difficult and or that has never been done before, e.g. reusable rockets, scaling a mass manufacture of electric vehicles. I could go on and on. Few people would start companies, businesses, if they really knew how difficult and painful it would be. And I suspect both of these traits are quite common among people working for any of Musk's companies. I also think these two traits are multiplicative, meaning you can gather a bunch of intelligent people who are all optimistic and somewhat naive to how difficult and painful something's going to be to actually pull off. You put them together, starts to create a runaway force, an upward spiral. I'll let you guys in on a little secret. Pessimism is a curse, a crippling curse. I'm now in my 5th decade on this planet, and I've never, not once, met a pessimistic person who was fulfilled or content in their life. And not only is pessimism a crippling affliction, but it's contagious and toxic. I can count on a fingerless, thumbless hand the number of friends I have who are, by their nature, pessimistic. I have none. And this is not an accident. It's by design. I have a pretty simple rule. I meet somebody, I interact with anybody, they display pessimism. Bye, bitch. Gone. Over. No second chance. Fuck off. And I strongly recommend adopting a similar strategy. Time to get off my soapbox and back to the video.
The very next week, on Super Bowl Sunday, Muller invited Musk over to his house, where they and a few other members from the Rocket Club conceived what came to be known as the Merlin engine. A few more meetings later, in April 2002, Muller officially signed on as employee number 1 at SpaceX, where he spent the next 2 decades as one of Musk's right hands. Today, that Merlin engine powers the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets, famous for revolutionizing the space industry because they're reusable, allowing for more frequent, lower-cost rocket launches. That propelled SpaceX to an $800 billion valuation, helping turn Musk into the world's wealthiest person, with a net worth of $723 billion as of late Friday. It's also set the stage for a mega IPO that could value the company at up to $1.5 trillion this year. As anticipation bubbles among SpaceX investors and employees for what could be one of the largest public listings of all time, there's another group eagerly anticipating the IPO. Early space tech investors. Chad Anderson, founder of space-focused investment firm Space Capital, said, quote, "This is where it starts to get really fun. This massive wealth-creating situation for a lot of SpaceX employees is certainly going to create a dynamic where we see a lot more founders.
That's probably true. Plenty of current and or former SpaceX employees with equity, SpaceX IPOs, astronomical valuation. Oh, I accidentally have tens, hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars. What do I do with it? I have a gigantic brain. I understand the space industry. Maybe I'll start my own company.
They'd be in great company. In the last 10 years, SpaceX has spawned a whole generation of talented engineers that have gone on to start a total of 141 new companies, according to alumni founders.
You know how many of those 141 former SpaceX employees are pessimists? Anyone? 0.
A data project that tracks startups founded by those who have worked at SpaceX for at least 1 year. Mueller, who left the company in 2020, founded his own startup, Impulse Space, to build vehicles that move satellites and cargo across different orbits to prevent the need for rocket detours or relaunches. In June, Impulse hit a $1.8 billion valuation after it raised $300 million, bringing the company's total funding to $525 million. Mueller's startup is one of 12 SpaceX alumni-founded companies that have nabbed billion-dollar valuations.
Pretty incredible statistic, that. The SpaceX Mafia is no joke. And I have a sneaking suspicion there will be waves of additional billion-plus dollar companies founded by former SpaceX employees, in large part to the progress SpaceX itself has created, enabled, and forced in the launch industry. Space really is the final frontier, and the next couple of decades are going to be wild. Much like Tesla spawned the entire EV industry and still dominates, we're seeing the same thing start to happen with space.
It's a list that also includes rocket makers like Relativity Space, valuation $6 billion, and publicly traded Firefly Aerospace with a $3 billion valuation, missile manufacturer Castellion, $2.8 billion valuation, satellite maker Apex, $1 billion valuation, and aircraft manufacturer Hermeus with a $1 billion valuation. This year, the largest funding rounds in space tech were dominated by former SpaceX staff companies, including K2 Space, total raised in 2025, $375 million, Impulse Space, $300 million raised, Varda Space, $187 million raised, Hermeus, $160 million raised, Ursa Major, $150 million raised, Muon Space, $147 million raised, and Exona Space Systems, $92 million raised in 2025. In total, SpaceX alumni startups across space tech, AI, energy, mobility, and other verticals have raised $10.6 billion in the last decade and created more than 7,000 new jobs.
Another incredible statistic. Not surprising, of course. It's an underappreciated aspect of Musk's companies, but his ability to recruit, motivate, and inspire gigabrains to work on impossible projects and achieve impossible results, disrupting entire industries, it's unprecedented. I've made this point before, but it's worth repeating. When surveys are conducted year after year of graduating engineering students in the US, which companies do you most want to work for? Year after year after year, SpaceX and Tesla are either number 1 or 2 depending on the year. This means that Musk has his pick of the bunch. The best of the best all want to work on these extremely challenging, super inspiring, very difficult projects. What this also means is companies trying to compete with SpaceX, Tesla, have to fight over the scraps, the B, C, D, and E players. We've seen this play out in the electric vehicle industry. Tesla's still the only company mass-producing electric vehicles profitably on Earth. We've seen this play out in the space industry. Blue Origin and SpaceX were founded roughly the same time. Yet it was only in 2025, 10 years after SpaceX achieved their first reuse landing of an orbital class booster. 10 years later, Blue Origin pulled off the same feat in 2025. 10 years is a long time. Presumably, Blue Origin were moving as quickly as they reasonably could, yet it still took an entire decade. The SpaceX Blue Origin comparison is quite telling. Both started around the same time, both fairly well funded, yet a 10-year difference in achieving the same technological feat. A more recent example would be XAI, shout out to Grok, joining the AI and LLM race late with a tiny team, somehow catching up to and then exceeding the best in the business. You probably do need to be very optimistic and a little naive to even try. Of course, we definitely won't see this play out yet again with the companies trying to beat Tesla to a global fleet of extremely safe and capable robotaxis. But even if it were to turn out that Tesla does dominate autonomy, scale widely and rapidly a fleet of generalized robotaxis, and take the lion's share of the profits in this massive market. It's certainly not possible that this could also play out with humanoid robots. I'm sure all the companies trying to compete with Tesla on mass production of generalized humanoid robots will be fine. It's way too tight to call at this stage. Tesla hasn't already won. And I'm definitely not being sarcastic. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.